I've been asked by a subscriber on my YouTube channel, what is the core kit that I would take into the bush when I'm hiking and camping? And these 4 items here is the bare essentials that I've attached to my belt or to myself at all times. The reason why I keep them on my person is so if I do lose my rucksack, if anything happens, I stack it down the side of a mountain, or I lose my rucksack as I'm crossing a river, whatever the case may be, if I've got these 4 things on me, then I've got a very good chance of surviving the situation. Now, depending on what time of year it is, I will take different things in my rucksack. If it's summer, obviously I'll take a summer sleeping bag rather than a winter sleeping bag. If I know I'm going into more of a grassy environment with less trees, I would take a tent. If I know I'm going more into an area that's got the opportunity of trees and hanging a hammock, then I would probably take a hammock. So the internal workings of my rucksack will change depending on what I want to do and where I'm going, things like that. But these are essentially the core things that I will take on my person when I'm going into the bush, and we'll go through these now. Okay, so this is the KTI PLB personal locator beacon. I did a review on this item a little while back now on my channel, and I think it's an indispensable piece of kit. Basically, you just flip the antenna there, pop the red emergency switch, and then press the button, and it's activated, and it's accurate to within, I think it's about 3 to 5 meters or so, and rescue will come and rescue you. What's in the little pouch I've got here is the actual PLB itself. There's also a signal mirror as well. Packs down to a really nice and compact little pouch, which you can strap onto your arm or put in one of the pockets of your hiking pants. I think these are completely indispensable. I've almost stepped on a number of snakes when I've been out and things, you know, they're crossing their paths and randomly bumping into them and things like that, and it just helps me realize and remember that if I've got one of these on and a situation does happen to me, then you know, I can get help brought to me very, very quickly and efficiently. Okay, next thing we're going to go through is my PSK, or my personal survival kit. Now, you can see by the size of it, it's not very personal. It is quite a big thing, but I've used a number of PSKs in the past, and I found them to be not as good as what I would have hoped, and some of the items in there are not as sturdy and as robust as what I would prefer them to be. So I've actually built my own PSK, and this is it here, and we'll go through what's in it now. Okay, as you can see, I've opened up the PSK, and you can see straight off that it's packed with a few things. It's quite laden with stuff, but it's all stuff that I've tested in the field myself. I know it works, and I would be confident using in a survival situation. Straight off the bat, we've got a little torch. This is an LED torch. It's lasted for years, and it's really strong, sturdy and robust. Comes in a little pouch, and that provides some really good light when it's dark. Next I've got is an open L knife. I think this is the number 6 or the number 7, but again, it's just an extra knife in case I lose my main knife, and it's I keep it very sharp, and it's always good to have you know, an extra item. Just things like a knife, it's always good to have an extra one on you, because they are very, very important in the field. I also have another little smaller knife here. Here we go. The clever thing about this is that it has a fire stick. Let me just get this out. There we go. Has a little ferro rod on it as well, and there's an actual part of the blade. This bit here, you can see where I've been using it, and it's turned the steel of the blade dull, but that's the bit there that you strike. It works really, really well, and again, an extra knife, a little knife just in case I need it. If I lose this one, I lose my main one, and an extra ferro rod as well, so I could make fire. On the left hand side of the pouch here, I've got all of my medical kit. I've got some spare cord in case I need some cord. Very important as well, and I think it's often overlooked, is a set of gloves, medical gloves. If you injure yourself badly, or somebody in your party injures themselves, then you need to try and keep things as clean as possible. So I always take a little spare pair of gloves there, and just in case I need to perform some sort of a bit of surgery or something like that, and or I need to sterilize a wound or something, I don't want to be doing it if I've got really dirty hands, so I always bring a pair of gloves. Inside the medical little bag here, I've got all sorts, but ranging from tape to gauze to dressing to wipes, alcohol wipes to clean things, to I've even got some sterilizing water tablets there as well. They take about 30 minutes, I think it is, to sterilize water. A range of different types of bandages and plasters and things like that. But again, safety pins are in there. A few of the bits and bobs, but again, I would rather have a bit more of a kit than the bare essentials that you find in some of the other PSKs going these days. On the right hand side here, I've managed to squeeze all of these things into the right pocket. First off, I've got my little fishing kit. You can see I've got a cork, so I've got a flotation device there. The fishing wire is wrapped around the cork, and I've got a fair bit on there as well, and I've got a number of different size hooks, and they're all with the point pushed into the cork. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yep. And that just means that they're safe, they're secure, and I'm not going to injure myself if I stick my hands into the pocket to try and get it out. There's some lead weights, there's some barrel swivels, a few other little bits and bobs there, but I'm confident that with this little kit I can hopefully catch a fish. I've also got a sewing kit, really nice and simple. I think I picked this up from a fancy hotel one time, but again, it's just got a number of different sized needles, spare button, and obviously a little bit of cord there as well. Another item I've got here, box of matches just in case. There's a backup to the ferro rod, and I've also got a candle as well, good for light at night time around your camp and things, but I can also use the wax to get a fire going as well. A couple of packs of ibuprofen and paracetamol. If you're in pain, if you've injured yourself, chew through these and you'll be at least nulling the pain a little bit. And also what I've got here is a hand saw, which you can use to cut larger pieces of tree branches and things like that. I've used this thing in the past and it is absolutely phenomenal. It works really well. Hang on. There we go, it's a little bit wrapped up there, but it works really well. It's essentially like a chainsaw chain with two handles at either end. It works both ways as well. The teeth work when you're coming from the left and coming from the right as well, so you get a really good action, and you can cut down some fairly chunky pieces of tree and wood quite quickly and efficiently. So I take one of those as well. Obviously with the smaller knives and things, I don't want to be battening down big pieces of wood and things like that, so I can use this to cut that up if I need to make shelter, or if I need to put some bigger pieces of wood on the fire. So that's my personal survival kit. There's a fair bit there, and like I said, I've tried and tested all of this in the field, and I'm confident that with these things here I'll be safe. Okay, next thing I've got is my main knife. This is the SE6 knife, and it's the basic sheath that comes with the knife. The only thing I've done is add a chunk of paracord around there and strap a little Tassie Tiger pouch onto it. There's nothing fancy about it. I did look up on YouTube the MCQ Bushcraft, how he did the wrapping and things. I didn't want to go as fancy as that. I just kept it nice and simple and just kept it straight going around there. It's never fallen off. Every now and again you just push everything up, it's all good. And I've put a little pouch on there. The SE6, I've done nothing to it whatsoever. Let me just change hands and get it out. So just to prove it to you, I've I've done nothing to it whatsoever, obviously, other than just keeping it sharp. It's a beautiful knife, works really well, and I'm hoping to do a review of it sometime soon, because I've been using it for quite a while now, and I've got some good feedback on it. So let's have a look, see what's in the pouch. Okay, so all of this stuff here is packed into this little pouch here, and you'll start to get a feel for what I'm doing here in terms of doubling up on a couple of items in different pouches. And the reason why I do that is, worst case scenario, if I lost my PSK for whatever reason, then there's a double up of a couple of items in this pouch, so I could still do things like sterilize water and get a fire going, things like that. So you'll start to see that I'm doubling up on a couple of things, you know, bare essentials across the pouches. So I've got a ferro rod again, so I can make fire if I lost the ferro rod in my PSK. There's a whistle for attracting attention with a little compass on, and that also has a little super powerful torch on it. Bit of lip balm, you can use that as a moisturizer, also just like to keep your lips nice and healthy, obviously. Fire lighter there in terms of just a standard lighter. I've got a diamond sharpening stone for the knife, so I can always keep the knife sharp. And again, I've got some micropure tablets to keep water fresh. Again, double up, but I'd rather have it as a double up in two different pouches in case one gets lost. Nothing in here other than it's a couple of bags, big plastic bags again, so if I need to put water into it or use it to carry something, then I've got a utensil to carry it. I've also got some lint from my tumble dryer. That's what I use all the time to get fires going when I'm out in the bush. I double bag this just to make sure that I keep it as dry as possible, because it doesn't work if it's wet or even slightly damp or moist. It has to be super dry, but it works every single time. And then again, as a backup to that, I have a big lump of wax here that I've also sort of infused with some white spirit as well, some petroleum, so it's always going to catch fire, that thing. So if it's absolutely pouring down with rain or my kit gets completely soaked, I know I can use this to get fire going. So that's everything that's in my pouch, which is strapped to my SE6. Okay, last but not least is my water carrying device and the little pouch on the front there. It's the Dave Canterbury setup. I'm thinking of changing it just to get something a little bit smaller. I'll let you know if I do that and what I get, but it's the basic Dave Canterbury setup, other than the only addition that I've put is I've bought a little titanium mug to sit on the top here as well. But that means that I can drink, I've got something to hold all my water, I've got something to eat from, which is this big one here, and it also has the bottom kit as well, which you can actually cook on, and there's a lid for that as well. So that's all that stuff. Again, the Dave Canterbury kit comes with this thing, which is for hanging the pot over a fire, and I've also got a standard spork for eating. Attached to the side here is my SteriPen, and this is a SteriPen here. That basically just goes in my there we go. That basically just goes in the water bottle, and I swish it around, and after about 90 seconds that's sterilized all the water. I've got a little towel just to dry things off with, dry my hands with and things. In the pouch here I've got a very small little scrubbing pad, and I've got some fairy liquid to wash and clean my kit with. I've also got some emergency drinking water and a spare bag which that sits in, so I've got an extra bag for carrying water and things, but I keep this on me. Worst case scenario, again, I can pop it and I've got drinking water immediately. And finally, I've got a super little mini lightweight Covia stove which you can connect to the gas canisters and things. And the reason why I take this is that I have actually been in a situation where I was relying on somebody else when we were camping to bring their stove. We weren't allowed to make a fire in the national park we were in. And when we got there and I said, great, let's get the gas out, let's get a brew on, get some hot water going, They took the gas canister out, but they didn't actually bring the bit to connect to it, so we were kind of stuck for that weekend. So I always take one with me just in case. Again, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It's super lightweight, super small, packs down into this little pouch here and just goes in here, and I've always got one in case I need one. So that's everything. That's my kit, which I always take, like I said, on my personal self in case I lose everything else of my rucksack, etc. So I'll be keen to hear what everybody's thoughts are. Is it overkill? Have I not got something that somebody else would class as important and a must-have? Could I trim it down? Could I add stuff? You tell me. I think it's pretty good. It's probably a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier than some people's PSKs and things, but I'm happy with it. I'm comfortable with it. It works for me. And I think that's the core thing with bushcraft and hiking and camping. It's about what works for you, and you can improve and tweak and change and things, but at the end of the day, the bare essentials are still the bare essentials. Your core kit is your core kit, and if it works for you, then don't change something that's working. Is my opinion. Let me know what you think, and thanks for listening.